If you've ever found stuff that you read out there that it technically is good, like you read it, it says all the right words, but it just doesn't gel. You just don't feel it.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And and I've had stuff that I'm like, okay, I know this was written by AI, but why doesn't it land? And I've studied that a lot.
Okay.
And I read it and I'm like, it's missing heart.
Hey guys, Jeremy here, Digital Growth Marketing. Welcome back to another episode. So today we've got to speak to Ely Delaney, E-L-Y Delaney. So ends with a Y, not I. So this guy's been in the marketing game for 30 years, and his current thing, right? So he's gone through the whole Facebook, the rise of Facebook advertising, the copywriting, the landing page, website game. So he's currently the big thing he's on right now is the email marketing. He's just got a book out. And right now it's about email marketing, the follow-up system. So he designed a whole system around that. And we got to talk a little bit about that. But even before that, he was giving me a few tips around following up and live networking, which I think is very helpful for small businesses. So yeah, give it a listen. Let me know what you think. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the show. Today, I'm with Ely Delaney. Ely has been around for, I think, over 25 years in the marketing game.
We're going about 30, actually.
About 30 now, yeah. Because I've been doing my preps and watching the old episodes to make sure, we have a good conversation here today. Yeah. A lot of people did come up through the web design game, I think, the website game. And then eventually they kind of moved on, branched off from there. But I'd love to hear your backstory as well, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah, definitely. So my first company was a web and graphic design agency. I started that in 95. And back in the days where we were hand coding stuff and I learned how to do HTML, I'm all proud of myself. And I realized, okay, but this is really not going to do anything because it needs to look pretty too. So I learned Photoshop. I picked up Photoshop 3 to give you some kind of history. I think they stopped doing numbers. I think they would probably be at like 30 now. And so that was a long time. I took that company to, we were closing 3 to 5 contracts a week. I had an office, I had 5 employees, all that kind of stuff. And I realized I did not like going to an office, and I wasn't a real big fan of my employees either. So I ended up burning the whole thing down and going in a different direction and haven't looked back, definitely.
When you did that, what was it? There's peripheral things that you got in touch with, like other businesses on the ground. You were seeing other people doing cooler stuff. And then, I guess people were going into copywriting, landing page design, CRO, game, all of that.
Yeah.
Was that,
What I actually got into was the teaching and the speaking side. So, so CMSs, so content management systems, were just becoming a thing. And I mean, WordPress still didn't even exist back then. We were using Mambo and then Joomla. If you remember,
Joomla was before. I didn't know.
No, Mambo was before. Joomla was the spin-off because they had an issue with the licensing rights. So Joomla became the separate fork of that whole thing. And so we started building websites using that and teaching our clients how to just go in and do basic updates because understandably they get upset when we charge them $100 to go change a price on a page. But I mean, if you're doing it by code, it takes longer and all that kind of stuff. And so I started doing these classes and I fell in love with it. And so I got into that teaching side and the speaking side. I was filling rooms. I get 30 people every month doing a workshop. And I ended up really falling in love with that. And then
how'd you get the word out at that time? Like now, because advertising, webinars or whatever, how'd you get the word out at the time?
It was all local. It was all
Straight
local.
up.
So it was local. I was doing it through my local chamber of commerce. Matter of fact, they had a conference room, and that's the room that we used for it. And eventually I started doing full day seminars, and I had a client who had a room in his office, and basically he's like, I'll give it to you for free if you give me 5 minutes to talk about what we do, which was insurance. He focused on business insurance. And he's like, if you'll let me give 5 minutes to just tell people what we do, I'll let you have the room for free. I'm like, sold. So we started doing those, and we were filling the rooms quite a bit. And I started teaching. Early on, I was teaching some stuff on basic web stuff, but then I was teaching social media, like back in the day when Twitter was the king. And
Okay. Yeah.
so
I
we're
wasn't around
teaching.
then.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were teaching Twitter, Facebook, a little bit of LinkedIn, and there was another one, and I don't even remember the name because it doesn't exist anymore. But that was
Yeah.
early on, and then I started teaching other things in the do-it-yourself marketing arena,
Yeah.
and having a blast with it. And that's literally where my big shift was. Ultimately, I ended up getting into the speaking circuit, doing a lot of
Yeah.
speaking gigs. And
Yeah.
what I found was I might get at the end of a presentation, I got 10 people, credit card in hand. They're like, alrighty, like, I need your help. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And the first thing I think of is, well, geez, I must suck because 90 people walked out the room,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know better. I didn't realize 10% of closing of a room was good. So I started building follow-up processes. And again, these are the early days. We didn't have QR codes or mobile-friendly websites. Our phones did not have internet on them, any of that
Didn't
stuff.
have scan either. Didn't have the
Yeah.
phone scan thing either.
We
So
didn't have
if we
it.
go
We didn't
back,
have text at the beginning. Like
Oh, that's
texting
true.
wasn't even. I mean, well, we had text, but you had to pay
Yeah.
for each one, so you didn't do
Yeah.
very many of them.
didn't
So
do a
I
lot of this
started
stuff, yeah.
I started printing out papers and saying, hey, fill this out.
Yeah.
And I'll get you some cool stuff. And I'd give them
Yeah.
I'd give them your lead magnet stuff that we use these days.
The old school lead magnet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what ended up happening is that follow-up process that I created turned a 10% close rate to a 20 or 30% close rate because of the follow-up process. And sometimes some of them would come back within a week and some of them come back in 6 months. But I just kept doing that and grew a list very, very fast, all organically. It wasn't through the internet. It was through face-to-face.
So if we go back, right, so I'm fascinated by the backstories about when you first started teaching like Facebook and those kind of things, right? Like what was the idea? What was the metric? Was just getting followers? Because now you can forget about it.
It was just getting followers and
Yeah.
and getting out there because there
Interesting.
was no advertising back then. There was no, we didn't have the saturation that we do now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was, hey, I have a business and I heard this Facebook thing. I need to do it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
And this is what people were coming to me with. I'm like, okay, I got enough people asking. Matter of fact, I pushed off teaching social media for a long time. I didn't want to, and I finally was like, fine, I'll take your money. And I finally did, and that class was a massive hit. We had a binder, like literally printed off a binder that was like 2-3 inches thick that went through screenshot by screenshot of everything we were teaching. And people would, they're in the class taking the notes and highlighting and everything. And they're coming back and they're like, this is amazing. I had no clue I could do this. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
This was
that's what it's
early.
for.
This was early. So would you say
was
like it
early
was right place, right time? Or are you like a visionary trend spotter kind of guy, like knowing what to teach next kind of thing?
No, it was honestly, I was going for what was being asked for people. Like people, there wasn't really anybody teaching this stuff back then. There were a few people in the internet marketing space, but even that was fairly limited. But in the local businesses, nobody was teaching it really. And so
It's
like
flooded now.
Yeah, now everybody and their
Yes.
dog's teaching this stuff, and most of them have no clue what they're doing. They just they know a little bit about one thing, and they know more than the people they're taking the money from, and that's all it is. Which to me is a little frustrating. I'm like, you should actually know what you're doing before you're trying to teach other people.
It does. And then with the live thing, right? Because I was just telling you right before we started our call, I'm a big proponent of live stuff, right? Like shaking hands, networking.
Right.
I didn't do that for a long time because I'm shy and stuff. And I went into BNI. I get into it, and then we do our thing. And then the two things I want to go into, because one thing I've never done very well is the follow up. Especially, I don't know how to do the email game. Like, it feels spammy, like getting people on newsletters and all that. I don't know how to do all that. And then I don't know how to periodically get in touch with people. And I think that's important for my audience, which is supposed to be small business.
Yeah.
How to do it systematically and without taking the human out of it, right? Like, we have to find the right balance. Yeah, so I'd love to talk about that.
Well, and that's really where my real magic came to be, is because over time I was doing all these different things. I was teaching social media and general marketing and how to build your website and all these other things. And eventually what ended up happening was my follow-up process was what was catching people's attention. And eventually people kept asking me, okay, what's going on? And these are all things I built for myself. So I started helping other clients out. And eventually that became my thing, was building the follow-up system. And you said something really important there. You talked about you didn't want to feel spammy. And that's the thing, especially in the internet marketing space, most of it is really spammy. And a lot of people are frustrated with it. They don't like it. It's like they're being taught you've got to email more and you've got to make an offer every single time and you should be emailing 3 times a day and all these things. And I'm like, you know what? No, people, that's why there are people that actually think email is dead. There's a lot of people that are pitching that, and usually it's because their emails suck. But the ones that think email's dead, they're like, I don't want to use email because email's so bad, and nobody reads their emails anyway. It's like, no, that's actually not true. People will read their emails if you train them to open it and look for good stuff and then deliver good stuff. And so I changed the entire framework behind it and said, okay, we're not going to play the scammy game. I mean, we've all been there where you get an email from somebody, you read it, you look at it and go, oh, got another one. You open it up, you read it, you delete it, and then you feel like you need to take a shower. We don't want to do that. So I changed the entire concept of everything that I did to, there are times where I'm going to make an offer. I mean, I'm in business. There's nothing wrong with that. However, that is not the majority. The majority is, hey, I have a book that really helped me out. This is what it is. This is why I liked it so much. I think you get some value out of it. I'd love for you to check it out. Let me know what you think. And it's very conversational. It's very relaxed. There's no fancy formatting. It's not a newsletter. Because newsletters don't build relationships. Conversations, one-on-one conversations do. And the difference is that you can use all the fun technology that we have to scale it up on a bigger scale, but it still needs to look and act and feel like you opened up Gmail and sent them something that you thought would help them out. And if you can shift that and start doing that, and again, it could be a book, it could be video, it could be podcast, it could be something you learned from a mentor growing up. I mean, especially if you happen to be in the B2B space, it's so easy to come up with amazing stuff to share, nuggets of wisdom.
So if I can interject there for a second. So if just say that I run into different types of people, right? So people are useful, like who find different stuff useful. Like, is your game around, I'm sure like people will learn it if they came to you. So would it be around like categorizing correctly, like finding, like making little notes of what they will find useful kind of thing?
You don't even go that far, to be perfectly honest. You can, but you can, if your people, most of the time, especially if you're doing it right, your people all kind of run into a certain category of things. And again, I focus primarily in the B2B space.
Oh, so niche down a little bit first. So don't go too crazy with all the business cards.
Yeah, exactly. So
where you're going for first. Okay.
I know if I'm networking, I'm going to an event that generally the mass majority of people are either the owner, so they are the entrepreneur, they're the founder. Sometimes they are the salesperson, their business development. And all of those categories, they all have the same characteristics in certain levels. Number one, most of the time they're high achievers. The other thing is that most of them love to learn. They love to read. They love podcasts. Not everybody, but it's pretty much there for the most part. And the cool thing is when you mix it up, you recommend a book over here, you recommend a tip over here, you recommend a podcast over here. If they don't really read, most of them, they'll go just get the audio version. But there's some, if they don't read, they may not care for that particular email, but they still see value in it. It's just not for them. So they're not offended by it, but then they'll go through, and when you recommend a podcast, they're like, okay, this is something I could check out because, you know, that's where their brain goes.
Or whatever.
Exactly. And so you're not going to hit the mark every time of every single piece is going to resonate 100% with everybody, but you're going to get really close. And even the things that they don't resonate with, the mass majority of them, if you got the right people on your list, are going to appreciate it, even if they don't value it directly.
Got you. Cool. So in terms of like live networking events, because when I listen to your past interviews, you talk about like chambers and BNI. You don't speak in a negative way or anything. Like, do you recommend people going to those places? Like, is it better places?
You definitely need to know where your audience is. That's very important. When I started my web and graphic design agency, the chamber is what helped me grow that. When I launched this company, I got crickets. It did not work for that group of people. Times have changed. Back then, continuing education from a standpoint of personal development and learning how to do marketing yourself and stuff like that really wasn't a big thing. And so they didn't get it. They didn't understand it. They didn't understand coaching yet. It was, that was a long time ago. Nowadays, totally different game. So it could work. Groups like BNI, there's other ones. I'm in one here that's called Success Champions. Matter of fact, I'm the president of a chapter. Nice. And what we do is, and this is the important thing, is you have to find where your people are. So certain groups like BNI was never a good one for me. Every group that I went into, I just did not feel right with those people. But I know people who've done amazingly well with it. So I'm not going to bash them. I'm just they're not my people. But like Success Champions for me was a great one. And it was a great opportunity for me to get. And we also focus on B2B, which is my world. So you have to know where your people are. You may not go to any of those. And you might go to conferences or find high-end masterminds. That's what you're looking for. You got to find two things that you're looking for events like this. Number one is obviously hang out where your customers are. That's important. But the more important one is go where your referral partners are. So who is it that, like say, you do ads.
Mine is SEO. SEO agencies, because they don't do ads.
Exactly. SEO agencies, web designers, other people in the digital marketing space that are not ads people. Or people who specialize in Facebook ads versus Google ads. Because I have a friend who she focuses on just Google ads. That's all she does.
Go find a Facebook ads person.
So you figure out where those people are hanging out and go to those events and look for referral partners, or we call them synergy partners. And that's a really powerful thing, because if you can do that and you can make one good synergy partner, they could send you 100 clients.
100%, for sure. I think now I'm starting to see the bigger picture. Because when I was listening to follow-up systems, I don't know, I got a plumber's card, I got a electrician's card, it doesn't work that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've got to go find the audience first, be fishing in the right pond, I guess, and then get those kind of cards and follow up correctly on that one.
Right. And you need to follow up with ways that's going to help them. And it can't be all about you. Like you can interject some stuff in there, like, hey, you know what? Here's a real quick, easy thing that if you're trying to do better SEO, do this one thing on your website tonight, and it's going to make a difference for you. Little tips, things like that. But that can't be everything, because it's all about that, because they all know he's telling me one thing, which is cool, but ultimately he just wants my credit card. If you give stuff that has nothing to do with you and you don't actually get any monetary value from it, it will actually confuse them. It's a pattern interrupt because they're expecting you to pitch them, and you come along and it's like, hey, you know what? Here's this podcast I listened to that really helped me out as an entrepreneur. This was really, really got me in my head in the right space or whatever. I'd love for you to listen to it. Let me know what you think. And now they're like, oh, well, he just wants to be helpful. That's awesome. And the cool thing is when they do that, they're going to reply back. They're going to share their experience after they read the book or listen to the podcast or whatever. And that starts a conversation. And conversations lead to sales.
Got you. Now, this is super valuable. So, as we said before, we probably want to touch on AI and how that's impacted the email marketing game and all the follow-up stuff. I mean, like, I don't treat my audience as like they surface level. If we go one level deeper, right, they know that there's a certain point where, AI helps and then the human has to come back in. I think everyone's trying to figure out that mixture. Like, some people was like, oh, I'm going to get AI to do it until the last 5 minutes before the meeting, quickly read some notes and go in or whatever, right? Whatever. And some people was like, I don't want to do it like that. And what's your take on all of that? How that's made it quicker, but also made it inhuman.
We're in an interesting place, and this is like, I mean, one of the biggest things I do is I ghostwrite for my clients. So I am actually, when I say ghostwrite, for anybody who doesn't understand the concept of it, I'm not a book ghostwriter. I am an email ghostwriter. But what I'm doing is I'm not just saying, okay, this is your business and this is what you do. Let me write as you. I'm actually interviewing you. We are together coming up with topics, and then I interview you, and I'm looking for your stories and your experiences and your thoughts and your wisdom and all the things that are rattling around in your head. And then I take that and I write it. So it's all your words. It's all your stuff. I'm never making anything up. And when we look at what's going on with AI, I do use AI to help speed up my process. It's a great brainstorming tool. That's one thing I tell everybody is like, if you're struggling to figure out what to say, go to AI and say, okay, this is what I do. Here's my ICP, and here's the stuff that I kind of think I want to talk about, but I need some more ideas. Help me out. And it'll give you all kinds of fun stuff. But then you take that and you create your content from those things. Don't say, cool, now take that and write 50 posts for me. That's not going to work. And what's happening right now is so many people are using it like that. They're just like, oh, I can have AI write all my emails for me. It's great. And it'll say, hey, I got this email from so-and-so. I want you to write a reply for me. And then it falls flat. And they don't understand why, because it has no heart. And that's a key point. You're talking about bringing the human back in. What I find, and this is the part that all of us, in all of our expertise, doesn't matter what industry, by the way, we have to be very strong about the education side of the reason our stuff is so good is because we have the experience. And you need to look at AI like an intern that has the knowledge of a toddler. It understands the basics. An intern has read the books and they've gone to a few classes, but they have no real world experience. Now, do you want the kid who just is checking out the mechanics class in school working on your car, or do you want the actual certified mechanic working on your car? Well, if that car is what's important to get you to and from work every day, you don't want the kid screwing around with it because you don't want to take the chance. They might be good, but chances are they're not. And all your content, whether it be social media posting, email marketing, any of that kind of stuff, you have to think about that in the same way. And what I'm finding is that there's a lot of people that are cutting they're cutting things short, and they're like, I could just have AI write it all for me. There's no reason I should pay you. And then I see the stuff they're producing, and I'm like, yeah, it sucks. And they're like, oh, well, email marketing doesn't work. No, it's because your email sucked. I mean, and it's really what it boils down to. And it's no different than somebody not knowing any better to begin with. So we have to really step up the education for our clients
as a professionals, as consultants, as experts. I think that the discernment factor is so big. I think there is going to be a change shift back, because I think the slops got so bad. It's already coming, right? I was speaking to another marketing strategist, Chris Melotti from my area, and he's pretty big in the Australia scene. He taught me about he said he calls it the sufficiency bias. Basically, if the AI is doing it better than the guy that was doing it, the business owner, right? So he can't write shit for himself, right? Couldn't do it. But now the AI is getting it to 70%, and that's a lot better than wherever he had it. So the business owner thinks like, oh, this is amazing. This is
amazing, right?
But it's not, though. It's not. Exactly. That's the part so okay, I understand your point as well. It has to be it is our job to educate the client. Say that's not the same, dude.
Right. And I had actually had somebody else I was talking to about this just this last week, and I came up with this recently where if you think of like a timeline 0 to 100, most people, when we're talking about like an expertise like what you or I have, on their own, they might be 10, 20, maybe 30% if they really do a lot of studying. That they're 30% of where they should be, right? Okay. Using AI out of the box, it might get them to 50%, which is better than what they had. But so they think it's great. But do you want 50%? I don't want 50%. I mean, even where I use AI, and I've done some insane training with it. Like I have AI experts look at the stuff I'm doing, and they're like, I have never seen this much detail in how you're doing it. And I was like, that's why my stuff works. But here's the kicker with that. Even with what I have put into it, I see the stuff that it produces and look at it going, okay, this is 80% there, which is still not enough. I want 100%. And so I'm going to take what it produces and kick it the rest of the way with my own words, my own judgment. And as a writer, as a copywriter, My whole thing is, and this is why my emails work so well, I'm not just looking for the basic structure. I'm not looking for formulas. There's a piece to that. But what I also look for is and this is why I interview my clients, is because you have tonality, you have pacing, you have actual physical nuances that you do, expressions that you do when you talk. And I'm looking at all of those things, and my 20 years of this practice, I have learned how to take those things and translate those into words.
The nuances, no, that's
AI
massive.
can't do that.
No, I can't do that. I was the other day, because I was like, I take things to the extreme just to understand how it works. So I was prompting her and I said, why can't I just get a book, give it to you, you read it, and now write my topic that way, right? And what he explained is that we don't read the book the same way you read the book. Right. We're not looking for the thing. We're looking how to categorize things, how to put patterns in, and that's all we're doing. Do you know what I mean?
It's
so
looking
that's why
for patterns. Yeah.
That's what it's doing. So you can't do the stuff that you're doing. So with that, so I would love to hear what you see yourself as a copywriter. So what are you? I mean, what's your identity? Like, what's your go-to-market? Like, you know what I mean? Like your overall thing.
I have multiple personalities. No, my identity is I'm an email marketing strategist and a ghostwriter. And that's where my lane is. I've cut everything else out. I used to do a lot more. I used to do full-on CRM stuff and help people with all their website stuff and their landing pages and all the other stuff. And I didn't like any of it. I can still do it. Don't want to. I found that I'm really, really just insanely good at is taking your thoughts, your ideas, your experience, your wisdom, and turning it into words in an email format that gets people to know, like, trust, and have loyalty towards you. And that's my magic. That's what I'm good at. Cool. So from a title standpoint, I say email marketing strategist or email nurture strategist and ghostwriter, because that is a big piece of it. It's like I said, I'm never just gonna make stuff up on your behalf and put it out there. We're having a conversation, and because I want to know, what is your thought? What is your experience with this? What are your stories? What are the client experiences? All the things that you know in your life that made you the expert at what you do. That's what I want, and that's what people resonate with. That's why right now so many people are arguing about AI slop, is because they're putting just a bunch of garbage out there. And and I've seen it. I've seen people are like, okay, I want to write a post for LinkedIn, and here's my topic, here's my audience, go forth. And AI creates something. And if you've ever found stuff that you read out there that it technically is good, like you read it, it says all the right words, but it just doesn't gel. You just don't feel it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. And and I've had stuff that I'm like, okay, I know this is written by AI, but why doesn't it land? And I've studied that a lot.
Okay.
And I read it and I'm like, it's missing heart. That's the thing that it's missing. And AI just can't figure that out. And I don't know that it ever will be. I know some people think it will. Maybe it will, but I just don't think it will. And that's why it's so important for people like you and I that are experts, especially that have all the years of wisdom of the things that we've learned and the experiences we've had, to educate our clients even further, and our prospects, more importantly, obviously, to the fact to this is what you're getting if you just go to AI and say, do all this stuff for me, versus an expert who might use AI. I'm not saying it's completely one or the other. You can use it to some degree, but it's just there to leverage your time, not replace that expert. And if you cut the corners and start getting rid of all the people that do all these expert things, you're going to find that at the end of the day, you're going to look, act, and feel like everybody else, and it's just going to get lost in the noise.
Yeah, no, for sure. And as I was trying to figure out like what kind of like products or services you're currently promoting, there was so much that I saw on the internet, right? So why don't you tell the people like who the ideal target audience is and what you're currently promoting? What's
Okay,
your
yeah.
current thing? Yeah.
Yeah, so ideal audience for me is generally they're solopreneurs, solo consultants. They might have a small team, but the founder, the individual, is like the face of the company. They're the one that's doing the sales. A lot of times they are consultants for bigger corporations. So the company, their client might be a $5 or $20 million company, but they're coming in the leadership capacity, COO capacity, things where they're basically helping that company scale in various different ways. And they know they need to use follow-up. They know they need to stay in touch more than they do, but they're afraid of burning them too much. So they've seen the internet marketers that send all the garbage that they don't like, and they're like, I don't want to be that guy, and so they do nothing.
I like it.
Yeah. And they say, I'm not going to do anything. Well, then they know that's not right answer either. So that's where I can help them.
Come in and you can help them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Amazing. So where can people find you? I mean, they can find you on LinkedIn. I found you on certain platforms that does podcasting. The backdrop is Meet Cool People. So that's your podcast that you've been had for a long time, right?
Yeah, a couple of years now. We are actually, as of today, episode 139. 38,
okay. All right,
something
cool.
like that.
Yeah, nice.
So best way for people to actually get a hold of me is go to connectwithely.com, and Ely is spelled ELY.
That's right. Yeah.
That's one thing that's very important. Yeah, connectwithely.com, and you can find, I just released a book in April. It's called The Follow-Up Code. I've got some cool free stuff up there. You want to connect with me on all social media sites, anything and everything about me, that's the place to start.
I'm gonna get that book. Look, I appreciate coming on the call. I always get people's books. I do read it. I do get to it.
Awesome.
And I leave a review and all that. But I'm gonna get that book as well.
Yes,
look,
please
Ely,
do, and let me know what you think once you read it, because it's definitely not a typical email marketing book.
No, I'm pumped. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. We'll I'd love to stay connected and see where everything heads.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Hey, what's up? Jeremy Yang, the online ads guy here, owner of Digital Growth Marketing. If you found whatever you're watching helpful, you found it interesting, like, subscribe, comment, suggest other topics you think we should cover here. We've aimed to release weekly episodes, helping SMEs with marketing, advertising, talking to professionals about growth, processes, all that good stuff. All right, see you on the next one.